look up and get eyes on me when you're done.
You just passed 10 minutes.
You'll have to draw them down. Just like this is just for you to keep. What do you have? Okay, so after that reading, what types of layers are existent within soil? Like, what would you see if you were to dig down? Or what would you see if you were to dig down? What else? Okay. Anything else?
Cameron, where would you think that the...
What types of dead animals do you think you'd like to see under there? Big clumps of them, smaller clumps. Small, dead, decomposed animals. Okay, so I'm gonna split you into little pairs. I'm gonna give you each a beaker.
Okay, where would the...
And from the article that you just read, you guys are gonna make a soil profile based off the layers that you just read. I want you, here are all the ingredients that you can use, but I want you to just be able to justify at the end why you used what you used for that layer. Does that make sense? Okay.
And are you going to grow lots? Okay.
Yeah.
We'll have to smooth.
Yeah.
Hey, that works, but...
This one.
Nope, too late now.
Just be able to justify why you picked what you picked.
We've got small pieces. And then the next layer make this bottom part of yeah, right now. This is phenomenal.
And then you'll have...
That's okay.
So the next level is like
Couple more minutes. Sorry. Yeah.
You got 6 minutes left.
Okay, 2 more minutes. Back to it.
we should crush the Doritos a lot. Over there.
Okay. Not overly.
Yeah.
How many more layers you got? 2 more? Okay, a couple more minutes so we can go back to the clothes.
Yeah.
Yeah, they're already open. Here, slide it. So while you're making these, what do you think? Where do you think you'd find like the older materials and like newer materials on this layer that you're of each layer?
The newer would be at the top.
Why do you think that?
Because if it's older, it's gonna start like being shifted under, and it's gonna come on top, and it's just gonna like
Okay. So you're saying basically that like soil is creating new layers.
yeah.
That's what's realistic. Just kidding, you definitely can't do that.
Okay, so since your models are being loosely packed together, what do you think there's less of in the model? Like, since it's loosely packed, like, you have more, what's in there? What?
Air.
So you have more air, so if it was tighter, you'd have less what? You'd have less air in the soil. So soil needs air in order for the roots to like breathe and grow, and if it's more tightly compact, then the soil can't like get the water and the air to the roots. So soil is loosely packed so that the water and air get to the roots so that they can get the nutrients they need as a natural resource. While you're making that like loosely packed, you have the air and the spaces in between.
That's a big tree right there.
How do these models like help you guys learn about the
Okay. So it looks like you've all put like harder materials on the bottom, but what layer is that? So that's the bedrock. Then you put looser material as the what? Why do you put putting as subsoil? So you thought it'd be like better to make it looser than like harder rocks.
Yeah. It's like clay.
And then the topsoil you put another layer of pudding because it's the same, or is it different than subsoil? You put another pudding on top of that pudding.
Oh, it's a thick cover. Put more.
Okay. And then ground level. Looks like you all have a pudding on top. Why is that?
Soil is dry,
Okay. So looking back at the whiteboard then, are there some of these things that you would change? You put, so is soil the same as dirt based off of what you read and you did?
No.
Living things are in soil but are not part of soil. Soils are eventually used up by plants in extensive farming. Soils and volcanoes, we all know that.
When do I use up though? Like the white ones like I can run out of them. Can't run out of them.
So then it's what? And then starts as clay. Is that still under? Or is grass? Still good with not soil? Okay. The soil comes out of volcanoes. Soil was present when Earth first formed.
Living things are in Okay, so it's
soil is a mixture of organic material, decaying things. Soils are eventually used up.
Yes or no?
Soil is never used up, just the nutrients in the soil.
I don't remember which one.
Soil is used for deserts, that's true because it was from
That's,
Air is a part of soil.
okay, air is part of soil.
Air and water are part of soil.
Rotted materials fertilize the soil. We're still good on no or yes. What?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Why would you think that?
No.
Why would you think that?
It just.
No, I got okay. So we're good on that then? Okay. And then,
One more minute to finish up.
so we're good on that. Okay, so J. So back to J. Soil depth ranges a few inches to a mile below the surface. If it's not part of crust, can it go that far? So then looking back at the probe, so soils comes in different colors. Soil contains water. Soil can change over time. Soils can form in deserts. Air is part of soil, and soil is a natural resource. Does that make sense?
What was on?
Living things are in soil, but not part of soil.
That's not true.
Does that all make sense? Okay, that's it.